we made it. Happy Wednesday. I'm so glad we made it back from Labor Day. It's back to school. Let's get rocking in our real estate. Some of us have spent way too much time on the lake, got too much sunshine. Is that possible? Well, yeah, it is possible, but just love playing in the sun and the summer fun. I hope y'all had a great Labor Day weekend. We're here to dive into back to school, and I cannot express how important it is to get into real estate right now. If you've been hesitating, if you have been stuck on something, please jump in here and let us know what it is so that we can unravel it for you. Just had a call actually from my cousin, said, hey, we're in this still, and we're able to unravel some things and give some next best steps. So definitely dive in here, let us know. Hashtag replay, hashtag live. If you're here live with us, let me say hello to y'all, because I'm excited to move forward. We got class starting on September 9th on Monday. And today I wanted to deep dive with you on negotiations. Okay, I wanted to deep dive with you on negotiations because that's really where the win is. That's really where the win is for any kind of deal. Our 5-day challenge starts on Monday, and we're going to dive into your market, getting specific with you on your market. If you've all hesitated on how real estate investing works for you, you really got to be in it and doing the steps to get it. Okay, so some of you are super, super smart. You're like, I know I have all this knowledge, but you haven't taken any action. Okay, so I want you to take action. This is a take action type of challenge. It's not fluffy. It's not, you know, what if one day? It's like, no, now, let's do it now. And it's been so supportive for so many investors to get started and run their first deals. So the steps are the steps are the steps. And you get to, oh, let me get that. All right, I'm in. All right, you get to take the steps that make you the investor you want to be. And here's why investing can be confusing sometimes. It's because what you're looking at or reading or hearing in a video is like general. And you're like, well, how does it apply to me? And then those are the steps you're going to get through the 5-day challenge, is how it applies to you. So I hope that makes sense. So enough of that for now. I want to dive into negotiations. What are your questions? Let's just start there. What are your questions about negotiations while I pull this up? Okay, I want to know what they are, because each of us have different, you know, things that we think about negotiations. There was the original Coffees Are for Closers. You know, do y'all remember that movie? Only closers can take coffee. And it was a great movie. I don't even remember the name of it, crying out loud. Anyway, so Alec Baldwin was in it. That's all I know. And he was the driver to make everyone close the insurance deals. And it is not that way in my world. Just saying, it's not that way. And we are so gracious about, here's what we can do. And you know what, if we can't make it work, we just hit the next button. We really just hit the next button, because there's so many opportunities out there. I have, you know, students closing on properties, deal after deal. They're finding deals all day long. If you're not finding deals, it's because you're not following the steps, right? And we're going to go over some of that today. Okay, we're going to deep dive throughout the 5-day challenge. So I implore you to jump into that. All the steps will be covered for you, and we'll have replays if you can't come in at the exact time. But today I want to talk to you about like where to start. Okay, so so many people don't get started in real estate investing because they don't even know what market they're in. They don't even know what market they're in. So they don't even know how to negotiate the price, because they don't know the market price, or they don't know the rents, or they don't know if it's going up or if it's going down, or if it's whatever it is. Okay, so that's one of the very first things I want you to know. Because when you're on the phone with a potential seller, the first thing they're going to shoot at you is, basically the number that they want, and you're going to have to shoot back immediately with either that's great or let me crunch some numbers, I'll get back to you. That's way too high, that's way too low, whatever it may be. But you don't know until you've studied your market, right? You know that 200,000 is a realistic number and they want 180. You're all over it like a cheap suit, right? Or if the going rate is 200,000 and they're like, yeah, I want like 280, you're like, where'd you get that number from? Because that's not even close to market price. But you don't know what you don't know. And so this is what I want to give this to you today. The very first thing is really just being prepared. I made myself some notes here that I want to make sure I address with you guys. So let me just understand here. All right, so yeah, just knowing ahead of time what you're going to do. And this is how I set my students up, right? We understand what's going on, what their goals are, what the market's doing, where is the end goal? Okay, is it wholesale, fix and flip, buy and hold, money lending? Let's just start with that as a target. You don't have to end with that. You should start with that. Okay, what I don't like in the world of real estate investing teachings out there is they're like, choose wholesale, only do wholesale. Choose buy and hold and only do buy and hold. Whereas if you understood how all the tools worked, you could choose what tool fit best for that scenario. Are you tracking with me? Because if you have the right tool, you could do the job. And so here's where I see a lot of wholesalers are leaving money on the table, is they don't transition into what could work. They just go, oh, it doesn't fit my box or the way I've been taught to do wholesale, so it's no longer a deal, and I'm out. Okay? Let's turn this off for you guys. Let me know if you've felt that way. Type in the comments. Let me know if you felt that way. It doesn't fit the wholesale. I can't lowball somebody. It's no longer a deal. I can't find a deal. Let me know in the comments. Good afternoon, Christine. Awesome. Type it in the comments so that I know where you guys are at. Okay. And the second thing that I see people doing is, so the first thing is not knowing their market. So they don't even know what is a good deal. And the second thing is not understanding the seller story. Like they try and crunch numbers all day long. I'll tell you what I did with one of my students in a minute here. They crunch numbers all day long and go, I can't find a deal. How many of you have suffered with that? I can't find a deal. I can't find a deal. Crunch your numbers all day long. I can't find a deal. Let me know. Let me know in the chat. Okay. Your feedback to me helps me educate you further. You guys are finding deals all day long. Great. Let me know that too. All right. Show us the way. I'm showing you the way that my students are getting deals left and right. All right. And it's by talking to the seller. Now, here's the other thing. Not just talking to the seller, but pulling the story out of the seller. And now I've had investors come to me left and right and say, Joanna, like, who cares about the story if the numbers don't work? I'm telling you, you get to make it work according to the story. Are you tracking? That is the juice right there. That is the juice. If you know the story of the seller and they're like, well, what do you mean the story, Joanna? Why are they selling? What's going on with the property? Where's their hang up? What is their urgency? Why are they motivated? Those are some of the things you need to understand in order to position an offer. Okay, so some people, they get on the phone and they call and they're like, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, if I were to offer you $200,000 for your property, all cash, would you take it right now? How many of you have heard that cold call before, right? And the property's worth, you know, 280, 300,000. It's a super lowball offer. I call it the Guido offer, right? The Guido offer, because I'm Italian and we're notorious. We have that reputation for being Guido, whacking you in the knees for our money. Okay. So I get that from The Sopranos. Do you guys remember seeing The Sopranos? yeah, anyways, that's not our family, but they're Italian. So I just thought I would lean on that. So building rapport with the seller and understanding what the story is helps you to position it. Okay, so maybe your bullseye is wholesale, but you could still make money on the dartboard as long as you're not hitting the ceiling, the cat, the kids, whatever. There's other ways to make money on the dartboard that you don't have to get a bullseye every single time. Okay, you guys tracking with me? All right. Oops, I lost my space. Let me know in the comments if you guys are tracking, if you guys are picking up what I'm laying down. Because I feed off of you guys. I need the juice. Give me the juice. So I know that you're listening. All right. So building rapport with the seller is important. If you don't know their story, you can't position the offer. Let me give you an example. One of the properties that I took it over, seller financed. Why would I do that? She said. And we had to go back a couple of different times. Her big why was she needed to get out of it so that she could move closer to her grandbabies. Nobody wanted to buy it because it was a weird offer. It was a weird, situation. And so she wasn't disclosing to anyone what her need was. But I asked her what her need was and was able to articulate a best offer that was a win for me and a win for her. And she took it all day long. She's like, I'm in. This is exactly what I want. Okay. So if you can help her get back to her grandbabies, she's going to only talk to you. Do you get that? But if you don't even know that, if you don't even care that she wants to get to her grandbabies, she could see that you don't care and all you want is the money, or you want to take advantage of her, or whatever story comes to mind. Okay, whatever story comes to mind. So when you're using creative options, like taking the property over, you take title subject to the existing loan, right? Now we've done a few of those, and it was a very desperate situation in one case, and you've really got to be on the seller's side to make that work. So here's what I've also heard out there, and you let me know if you've heard this. Hey, I'm just going to do subject to. I'm just going to do subject to. Okay. And I'm like, why would you only do one thing? Now, again, there's a great bullseye, but you can make money on the dartboard. Okay. So understanding what the seller needs is how you'll position the offer. Okay. Can you do seller financing? You don't know if you haven't had a conversation with the seller, right? You haven't had a conversation with the seller to know, is there a note on the property? How much? Are they behind on anything? Once you have those conversations, then you know how to position it. Because if they're upside down, obviously there's nothing to carry. You get it? There's nothing to carry. Okay. So there's different ways to, wrap those around. Maybe you do it for a term and then you refinance out of it. There's different ways to do it. I'm not going to get into that strategy. However, the actual taking down the property starts with the seller's story. So if you come to me saying, Joanna, here's this address, do you think it's a good deal? And I'm going to go, I don't know. Do you? I don't know. Because I don't know the story. I don't know the market. I don't understand your exit strategy. I don't understand all the things that you want to do with it. So what I want to do with the property and what you want to do with the property may be two different things. So, but when you give me backstory on, I know not most people are like, just give me the numbers, no backstory. I'm like, give me the backstory so I can see how the deal can be completed or not. Right? So here's the offer that I want to give. And it's not just about the price. It's about what's going on. What are the repairs? What's their story? Do they need So one of my properties, there was a lot of stuff, and they were older ladies, and the wholesaler I bought it from said, "You're going to have to get rid of all of this stuff before we close." And the look on their faces was like, oh, you know, like, that's a lot of work for us at 70 something years old. I'm not sure how that's going to work. And I just saw their faces, and I'm like, hey, don't worry about a thing. I got it. You just leave everything the way it is, take what you need, and, you know, we'll close. Not a big deal. I'll take care of it all. And they just, you could just see their eyes, everything just lifted. They're like, phew. They're not going to talk to anyone else but me because I gave them what they needed. Okay. Now, don't get me wrong. We adjusted some things so that the numbers worked out with the wholesaler, with closing costs, with the, you know, with the sellers. Everybody had to put a part into it. But here's how it's going to work. Okay. So they knew the relief. They were doing anything for the relief of not having to move any of that stuff. They were hoarders. And that would be a lot of stuff, a lot of emotional trauma to have to go through all of that stuff. Okay. So create a win-win situation. So that's number 3, creating a win-win situation. Okay. Knowing your market, knowing the story, then create a win-win situation. It can't just be about you and what you want. All right. It has to be great for, and this particular example, it had to be great for me, had to be great for the wholesaler, and it had to be great for the sellers. Everybody had to win. And I say the same thing about listed properties. So if it's listed with a realtor, you better have an idea how you want to close on it. And most realtors don't know the story of the seller. They're just taking a listing because they need a commission check. Okay. And I hate to put realtors down, but I'm a licensed realtor, and that's just kind of our story, right? Most realtors are just living commission check to commission check. They got into real estate because they thought they were in real estate, which they're only a servicer of real estate. They don't even really own any of their own real estate. So, and they don't know what to do, how to get those properties and close on them. And so they give them all away to other investors that can close on them. Okay. And how do I know? I'm that realtor. I got pissed off of giving all my leads away. I'm like, well, how is it that he can close on this? And what has he got? How did he get that money? What do you mean he didn't take, what do you mean that? So I had questions. I wanted to do that. And that's how I started investing. I'm a licensed realtor, and I wanted to invest. I didn't want to do first-time home buyer stuff. Okay. And so I learned all of these different ways to make it happen. So creating a win-win situation. So if it's listed with a realtor, that realtor better win too. Okay. Just saying. You don't cut them out in any way, shape, or form. They win too. Everybody who's involved wins. Try not to daisy chain anything. That is the most disgusting scenario as a real estate investor to hear, is that there's a daisy chain. Joanna, what is a daisy chain? It is when a wholesaler has a deal with a seller and then tries to incorporate another wholesaler, and that wholesaler says, well, I could wholesale it to this wholesaler, and then there's this chain of wholesalers. It's just ugly. Don't do it. Don't be a part of it. Now, there's such thing as co-wholesaling. Don't get me wrong, where you have a buyer and another wholesaler popped up with a property. You guys came together and you close it and you split. Okay. When you're wholesaling, you should have an end buyer in mind before you even go anywhere. Okay. So sometimes that works. That works out just fine. And there's no chain. We all closed together, you know, coming from one direction and another direction. There wasn't a chain of people connecting. Okay. So just co-wholesaling is enough, no chain. So once you understand what is going on with the seller, you got the market, you understand it's a good deal, you know what you can do with it. Either you're going to wholesale it, you're going to flip it, or you're going to hold it as a rental. Okay, those are your options. And then you're understanding what's the story so you can position your offer? And then how do you create it? So what does everybody need that's involved here? What does everybody need? Okay. And then you make that happen. Now, here's the other thing. The one big red flag mistake that I see people make is, well, she wants this. Okay. The seller wants 200,000 and I only want to give. How do I make it work? How do I make her 200,000 work, Joanna? I said, you don't. You have to make it work to what you can do. So think of it this way as, you don't want to take the oxygen mask over you just to make them win. You got me? It has to be a win-win situation. So, and another thing that I've gotten for people is, what's the going rate for private money lending? There is no going rate. You have to talk to private money lenders, see where they're at, how much they want to lend, what is their typical returns that they get, right? Maybe they're only getting 1% in their CD or 3 or whatever. If I could give you 4, would that be great? If I give you 5, would that be great? You know, like, know where they're at so that you know what to give them. Again, knowing the story really is the bottom line. So knowing the story of your private money lender, what do they want? If it doesn't fit, if they're like, I want 18%, which is illegal, by the way, and 5 points, which is illegal, by the way. There's a usury law. So anyways, it's not what they want. The deal has to work. This is how the deal's going to work. I know you wanted 20% down, but I'm going to give you 10 because I need it to work this way for the first year. After the first year, we can do, for the first year, we'll do interest only, and then we'll do amortization, 30 years amortized loan so that you get principal and not just interest. Fair? Or not. Maybe it's not. Maybe they're like, you know, I just can't do that. Great. Hit the next button. So too many of you are trying to make the deal work. All right. You make the deal work and then you miss out on all the other opportunities that are out there. Okay. So make sure that you're hitting the next button. Know when to fold them is what they say. Know when to fold it and walk away. You put your offer out there. They're either going to accept it or not. Okay. Your intent. Maybe not even a contract, but your intent that this is what you want. They're either going to take it or not. And then you move on to the next one. And this is how my clients are closing on multiple deals, is because they're making multiple offers. And they don't always come up right away. Some of them are like 3 weeks later, like, hey, is it still good? And some are what was 6 months ago, they didn't sell. They're like, hey, you still want it? So they're coming back. And you want to know why? This is why it's so important to get into real estate. So if you're not signed up for the Get Started Challenge on Monday, I'm telling you, this is the window y'all been waiting for. When's the right time to get into real estate? Right now. And I'm saying this because what used to be this up market has shifted, and some places is completely downward. Okay. So the sellers still think they can get this price. And so they're coming back 6 months later going, hey, is that offer still good? And you're like, I'm going to have to reevaluate. Because you know your market, you know where you can go with it. Okay? You know your county, zip code, what's going on in your world. We're going to deep dive to help you focus on that. If you guys want focus, if you guys want action steps, we got you here in the chat. Just type action in the comments. We're going to get you rocking and rolling. All right. I hope this has been helpful to understand and negotiate like a boss. It's got to be a win-win for everybody. That's truly the bottom line in any sales negotiations, right? Not just real estate, but knowing the story of everyone, of all parties involved, helps get it to a win-win for everybody. All right. So that's the training I have for you this week. I hope you have a beautiful week, and I will see you all on Monday for the deep dive training. All right, we'll talk soon. Bye.